We here at TVWest are investigating an alarming trend that has appeared throughout the nation, but more specifically in our own city and school. This trend is of a growing population of the Sith community.
The first reported killing was about 3 years ago, and we've been monitoring Sith activity carefully since then. There are a few ways of identifying the Sith influence. Many of them will be quite plain and identify themselves, even in government census reports, as being Sith, or at least Sith-inclined.
Here we are with Darth Apollo, the leader of the Sith Order here in Salt Lake. Now tell me, Darth, how and when did you first decide to become a Sith Lord?
Well, when I was a young little guy, I was watching these documentaries by the great American filmmaker and historian George Lucas. And so it kind of became a dream of mine to follow in those footsteps. And then, my third grade teacher, Miss Perkins, she's like, hey, follow your dreams. So here I am.
Thank you, Mrs. Perkins.
It was then that I decided to be one of the few, the proud Sith.
It ought to be made clear that this has been something that has been troubling local and federal government for easily the past 10 years. But in terms of combating the influence, the Jedi Academy has been very successful. The Bush administration provided ample funding for that. The Obama administration has been very cooperative. We've received no budget cuts, even in light of the current economic crisis. But perhaps even more influential than that has been raising levels of public awareness. The excellent documentaries produced by historian George Lucas has been useful in terms of getting people aware of Sith patterns of behavior, what they do, why they do it, and that has helped reduce fear levels. There's a Sith stigma that's out there, but people don't have to be afraid of that. You just have to have a Jedi nearby.
What are the goals of your organization?
Come all powerful and rule the galaxy. What else would they be?
While this is a national phenomenon, we have chosen to concentrate on the Sith here in Salt Lake.
There's a peculiarly high concentration of Sith activity in the Salt Lake Valley, and we still don't know why. Sociologists have been looking at this for years.
Well, it really comes down to the fact that I was, born here, and skiing is great.
Agent Lee has played a particularly large role in the Salt Lake area.
Well, 3 years ago I was stationed here adjacent to West High School, initially with the intent only of monitoring Sith activity. So I was quite surprised when I was appointed as the resident Jedi Master, and then invited to actively recruit and train students in the community to combat the Sith influence.
The influences of the Force start in the very early stages of life. Because of this, it is important to note youth programs and childhood heroes.
Who would you say was your childhood hero?
Leon Trotsky, hands down.
My childhood hero? Jedi Master Winston Churchill, hands down.
This is a play care and training center for younglings. Right now we're working on acrobatics. They need to do an awful lot of gymnastics just to have the muscle tone that they will need to do the Jedi movements when they're older. We also are working, if you can believe it or not, looking at these younglings, we're working on beginning lightsaber skills. Oh! No! That's teachers. Let's go get you a youngling one. Then we do the traditional, we'll do snack time, nap time, play time. And later today we have puppies here that we're using to teach the kids gentleness and empathy. And we're going to work on levitating the puppies today.
As a child, were you able to participate in any school or youth programs that helped you to become a Sith?
No, programs like that really didn't exist. So I've been kind of working on my own, training the little Sithlings. And, I've got high hopes that the dark side merit badge is going to be accepted by the BSA. So wish me luck.
Good luck.
We actually start surprisingly young when they're just a couple months old. And the reason we start that young is because emotional control is everything. You can have a lot of kids with a high midichlorian count. Only a few of them will be able to become Jedis. That was really good.
The rapid growth of the Sith is largely due to their recruitment program.
Recruitment. Well, I go to high schools, sometimes like West, I find that it works better to get them a little younger, so I stake out all the elementary schools, set up little booths like the military. So that's kind of where I go. If anyone out there wants to join, just call this number 1-800-BE-A-SITH. Give us a call.
Have you ever been discouraged by the inevitability of the eventual victory of the light side over the dark?
Whoa, wait a minute. Are you insinuating that I'm less powerful than a Jedi?
No, not at all. I merely...
Your thoughts betray you.
So, I'm going to ask the question that we've all been dying to know the answer to. How do you get around the city?
Well, tracks mostly.
But aside from their mode of transportation, it's good to know how the Sith get their power. How did you learn the techniques of the dark side of the Force?
Well, they didn't really have any sort of masters that I could go to, at least none that I knew about. So I just checked out the local library, and they had some Sith holocrons I checked out, and that's really where I gained all my knowledge.
Sith holocrons are devices used to store holograms and information and require use of the dark side to activate.
This will be the focus of the rest of my life. My own son was caught up in things that we had hoped he would never even be exposed to. We found my son one day looking at Sith holocrons, and we did everything we could to try to get him away from that influence. Until you have seen the influence of the dark side pull on someone you love, you have no idea the power. But at one point, we realized we had lost him. We still had him in our home, and we were trying to work with him, and my son killed my husband. And my son is no longer with us, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to train Jedi to protect our whole society in the future, our world.
It should be noted that it's very difficult to detect Sith behavior. They seem like normal people. I've been deceived, and I'm a Jedi Master. That's been a very humbling thing for me. But there are a few telltale signs that seem to be almost universally true. In terms of outward appearance, it's customary to see younger Sith with long hair. Older Sith typically have no hair at all. You'll see them with red and yellow eyes. They wear dark cloaks, eat lots of breakfast cereal. Captain Crunch has been a favorite of the Sith. They listen to Barry Manilow. Neil Diamond's Christmas hits has been widely known to be a Sith favorite. So we look for those things, those patterns, those preferences, and then we move in accordingly. Well, there are lots of common misconceptions about the actual hazard that Sith pose to human health. When you encounter a Sith on a good day, you're in no imminent danger. It's okay to make small talk. I wouldn't cross certain boundaries, however. To play it safe on a bad day, I would call a Jedi immediately. If you can't access anyone from the local Jedi Order, just play dead. They won't mess with you. They'll paw you around a little bit, but they'll move on quickly enough. If you're interested in self-defense, we can be very useful in that regard. I would suggest that anyone who's concerned about their personal safety should see the local recruitment officer of the Jedi Order. And we'll train anybody, regardless of midi-chlorian count.